Was your family not inherently musical? That's something that you came into?
My mom does sing or did sing Carnatic music for a while. So there was always that. I always, to be honest, now I'm like, oh yeah, it's beautiful. And it's like but as a kid, I was like, shut up, mom. It's not fucking rap or whatever.
So, is it? It sounds cool.
I was a little shit.
Is it being in Beijing, right? Because we know a lot of like diaspora in the United States, Canada. They have a lot of those moments where they're not really willing to accept their background, whether it be in pop culture. Did that reflect the same way in Beijing?
It did, because I went to like an American school. So all my friends were like, even if they weren't American, they were very Western. Like even Australian kids, I would consider, that's like part of the Western world, right? Like any countries that the primary population is like Caucasian or, derived from the, original British colony, I would say it's like Western, right? So a lot of my friends were Western. So I felt very unliked in my own skin, sort of, which, it sounds like really sappy or whatever. I'm over it. But at the time, it hurt. And so I tried to not be brown as much as I could. So I was like, fuck yeah, I fucking love Simple Plan, or whatever. And I tried to be cool. And
how'd you come around?
It's a natural cycle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you hear that so much. I heard Curtis talk about that. And it's a very common cycle, even if you're not in America, around other Western cultures. I think I didn't come around till very recently.
Really?
Very, very recently. This had to have been like, honestly, like 2019.
Wow.
I feel like is when I started coming around to like, fuck, like this is like, I just have to like kind of like know more and feel more comfortable. Just like being like, I'm brown and like, that's okay. And just like trying to deal with that.
When I'm assuming being a musician too, there's these pressures to be a certain way.
There is. That's more like, it's like, that's also kind of an annoying thing because really what it is when it comes down to what skin color you are or where you're from or any of that stuff and what it has to do with your music, really it should be something that's understood through, just naturally the music itself.
It can't be forced.
It can't be forced, which it is. A lot. I'm not going to name any names, but it is.
It is.
And I think it's gimmicky and kind of, it takes away from people who are really trying to give an authentic sense of self.
Absolutely. And I think, especially with like diaspora musicians, right? It's hearing from other people, you should lean in. When in reality, it's like music is a playground. And if it's a part of your background, if you grew up listening to Carnatic and you actually like study and trained it, and you incorporate it, like that's all up to you. But that's when it's truly genuine. And
that's when it's like really like Sid Sriram. I don't know if you've heard. Yeah. Great like pop Carnatic crossover musician. Has a lot of those melodies, like the harmonic minors. He's hitting like, semitones that you wouldn't hear in Western music. But it's like, sounds like he always wanted it to be in there.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, oh, let me sample a tabla and put a trap beat over it or whatever. I don't know. That's like something a, Universal would think is a good idea for me.
And it'll be like, it'll hit with all the people who think it's exotic. And it's like, it's not like that.
No, it's not like that. And it sounds fucking whack most of the time.
And I think what you did, I know you did this for me, is like being a young American kid looking for music that was really good, but just like as a byproduct happened to represent me, right?
Right. And that's what it is, right? Because being brown is not like, it's not that deep, really.
Yeah.
It's more deep to each personal experience is very deep, but that's for you to experience and you to sort of reflect on.
Yeah.
But being brown itself for a lot of brown kids in America is like, it's not represented in a lot of music, and it's not because they don't want to, they don't want to hear their lives being compacted into some sort of like product or like packaging. And when it is, it's like so obvious and so off the mark.
Yeah.
The brown experience in America is like you can't even say, like those words don't even mean much these days because you're painting with such a wide brush.
Absolutely.
Like think about literally you can go from Manhattan to Williamsburg and live a different life. Like, and imagine all the brown people across America. They're living in different states and like different cities and stuff.
Yeah.
You cannot fucking compile that into one. Like you wouldn't do that with white people, or you wouldn't even do that with black people. You wouldn't do that with, you know, even like Chinese people or Vietnamese people. Like all their experiences are so different. So I don't think it has to be compacted and packaged in the way that I feel the industry thinks is the only way to reach out to those demographics.
Absolutely. I think at the core what it is the music really, does it speak to people?
That's what it is, dude. It's not that deep. It's like, does this shit bang? And if not, then like, why are you putting it out?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And then I think when it parlays into being brown, right, it's for me as a fan, it's like, oh, this is awesome. Now I have this and I don't have to look at those gimmicky people you speak about. And I'm like, oh my those are the reasons why like we don't want to talk about it or we push it away.
Yeah.
But I think we're seeing now this next generation of artists, I think
totally,
that are caring with the art first and just making everyone else proud.
Totally. There's this kid Rohan. He goes by Rojo. He's a producer.
Yeah.
He's worked with like Monte. Yeah, you've heard of him. And he's also an animator, so he's like kind of like a man of many hats. I've worked with him before. He did the cover art for the deluxe version of my
I did not know that.
Album. Yeah, he's a great guy, really easy to work with, and a fucking professional. And I did not know he was brown.
Yeah, exactly.
He goes by Rojo. So, you know, I hit him up or blah, blah, blah. And then I found out it's obviously, I was like, duh, it's Rohan.
And then it's just a bonus right there. It's like, oh, fire.
Yeah,
now
like,
I got
hell
that
yeah,
too.
fuck yeah.